So, good evening, challengers and mentors. Welcome to the StackLeague Mentorship Tuesdays. I am Flo and I will be your host for tonight's event. So, this evening, our goal would be for you, challengers, to unlock silver level with the help of our gold challenger mentors. And this is your chance to ask for advice from the featured mentors while you're solving the challenges. If you have any questions for our mentors about the challenges, type them in the comment section so the mentors can give their feedback or recommendations. So let us now proceed to the mechanics. The sessions provide a virtual and safe venue for new or beginner StackLeague challengers to learn and improve their coding skills with gold level challenges. Mentorship Mondays are for unranked participants who want to level up to bronze, while Mentorship Tuesdays are for bronze challengers who want to level up to silver. How it works: only registered participants are allowed to join the 1 hour mentorship session. For the schedule, session starts at 6 p.m. and ends at 7 p.m. In the first 10 minutes, the featured mentors will be introduced and the mechanics of the mentorship will be discussed. So for the next 40 minutes will be allotted for mentors to answer advanced and live questions from mentees. And the last 10 minutes will be for final tips and session wrap up. For the pre-mentorship requirement, mentees must attempt to solve at least one challenge to experience firsthand the difficulty and coding environment. Mentees can send their questions ahead of time via bit.ly/StackLeague Mentorship Questions. The questions will be answered during the mentorship proper. So for the mentorship proper, mentees will join the session via an unlisted YouTube link, which they will receive via email. So when mentees have questions, they are to post their questions in the comment section of the YouTube live stream. If a mentee question is chosen in the live session, it will be flashed on screen as mentors answer the question. Take note, mentees are not allowed to disclose a challenge question. Do not copy paste questions or take a screenshot and upload it to ask mentors. So any form of disclosing the StackLeague challenges online is ground for disqualification. For the level completion, mentees have until Friday 11:59 of the same week to successfully level up and be part of the mentorship graduates. If a mentee has successfully leveled up, the mentee is to submit his or her StackLeague ID number form and upload the screenshot of their level up notification or email in the form via bit.ly/StackLeague Mentee completion. Mentees who successfully completed the challenge will automatically receive their certificate of completion. Moreover, names and photos of successful mentees will be included in the mentorship session graduates of the week announcement to be announced on StackLeague social media channels. And this is how it would look like on the platform. So let us now introduce our featured mentors for tonight's session. First, we have Jeremiah Daniel Regalario, our gold challenger who ranked in the individuals weekly top 10, week 3, week 4, week 5, and week 6. Second, we have Jerome Antido, our gold challenger who ranked in the individuals weekly top 10, week 2, and week 6. Third, we have Stephen Johnson Balo, our gold challenger who ranked in the individuals weekly top 10, week 2. And lastly, we have Daniel Mir, our gold challenger who is the grand champion of StackLeague 2022. And to facilitate the Q&A session, here is Jeremiah Daniel Regalario.
Thank you for the introduction, Miss Chloe. And again, I'm going to introduce myself to our mentees for this day. I am Jeremiah Daniel A. Regalario, and I'm currently one of the top programmers for this year's StackLeague 2022. So, first of all, I want to welcome all of our mentees here, which are watching us live on YouTube. And I encourage you guys to ask questions when you are having difficult times and solving your uh, silver challenge. And you may also type your questions on the comment section so that we will be able to see it. And I was informed beforehand that there will be a total of six participants for this session for today. So we hope to we wish you all the best in your challenge, and we welcome you again on Mentorship Tuesdays. And we hope that you will be your skills will be honed in terms of programming. So now, while your guys are solving and trying to figure out the problems that are being uh, laid in you on the StackLeague platform, let us ask our fellow mentors here about their experience in programming so that you will find it um, knowledgeable, and you will also find a lot of techniques in and experiences of them as well, which you may adapt it in your future endeavors in programming if you plan to pursue it in your future, or if you plan to build projects and even greater heights in developing in terms of programming. So first question, um, so for our first question, since yesterday we've already asked about experience in solving the bronze challenge, but now we're already in the silver challenge. So if the first question would be, um, how did you conquer your first silver challenge, and what was the experience like after you solved that challenge? So I think I'll go first for this question. So my silver challenge actually, to be honest, was the easiest one among the three, because I think after having my mind really, after solving my first bronze challenge, my mind was really on fire, and I think the spontaneous capability of minds really do matter. So when you're doing one thing and you continue doing that, your mind is really fresh with ideas, especially with these coding skills. So with that, I was able to get my silver certificate right away after solving my first bronze challenge. And the experience that I had, I think it's really fun and fulfilling for my part, and it really inspired me to go for the gold right away. No, because we're not contented with what we really are if we know that we can achieve more. So I advise that you guys will also strive hard to get into that gold level challenge. So now let's ask our fellow mentors here. What if we start with Mr. Jerome? Tell us about how did you conquer your first silver challenge, and what was the experience like for your part?
Hello, I hope everyone is hearing me. So, hello,
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Jerome.
thank you. Good evening, mentees and fellow mentors. Uh, as for me, like Jeremiah, I agreed with him that Silver Challenge is much more easier than uh, the Bronze Challenge since hindi na siya uh, hindi mo na siya kailangan 100%. If I'm not mistaken, it was just 70 to 80% pwede mo na siyang i-finish challenge or i-submit. So, yung experience is same na techniques sa bronze, but it was just easier na konti. And sa ano naman sa interval ng pag accept ng challenge from bronze, it was I think mga 1 week pa siya before ko inattempt na i-conquer yung silver challenge, since as I was telling before that medyo nahirapan ako sa bronze. That's why I let my rest for a week, and then I uh, attempted the silver challenge. Thank you.
Okay, guys, so you've heard Jerome for his experience uh, during his experience in solving the first silver challenge. So, like me, he also had it easy for solving the silver challenge compared to the bronze challenge. And yes, guys, if you're not familiar, um, you can not hit all the check marks, but as long as you gain a necessary percentage of the problems, you will be able to pass through as well. But I hope that you guys will also learn from that mistakes so that in the future you'll be able to reach greater heights. And now let's move on to our next mentor. We have Daniel. Can you please share your uh, experience in solving your first silver challenge, and as well as what is the experience? What is your experience or feeling after conquering it?
So when I solved my first silver challenge, I needed around 70% and above to garner points from it. So what I did is I first picked questions that I was comfortable with and I believe I have experiences from. So what I did was I just spammed the what's that? I just spammed the complete button until I get the perfect questions for that. And then after that, yeah, I worked on problems that were easy so I won't waste energy. And then research on problems that I'm having problems with. After that, yeah, my brain's reward systems fired and I was ready for the goal challenges. But unfortunately, they have OOP questions, so I had to study more. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you for that, Danielle. So you've heard her, guys. So it's really Daniel's experience is actually relatable if you guys are already coding more than once. So you've been trying to really attempt questions which are favorable to your um, specialization. For example, you're good in math, you're good in geometry, or other things that you really find it easy. So you may do it so because the questions of StackLeague are actually randomly generated. So you may try entering the challenge portal again and again in order to um, catch different questions, and hopefully those questions will be favorable to yours. Now let's move on to our fourth mentor for this day, Mr. Stephen. Do you tell us about your experience after solving your first silver challenge, and how was the feeling of uh, conquering your first silver challenge?
Well, to tell you honestly, Before I managed to conquer the silver challenge, it took me a lot of it was actually the same experience with Daniel. Uh, it took a lot of trial and errors because kataon na po na uh, I received a couple of I think if I'm not mistaken, the silver challenge has it consists of three challenges, two easy and one difficult. But even if that's the case, there are easy challenges. There were challenges that seemed easy but actually quite difficult. So I didn't really wasn't able to hit the target percentage to pass the one. And it wasn't just a one trial; it took a lot of couple of trials. But still, despite of that, I was determined to conquer the silver challenge, and what I did is just I was just saving my work. I just put it into my own integrated development environment IDE, and yeah, and uh, once I was able to reach a certain combination of challenges that were a bit more easier, and yeah, I managed to conquer it. And of course, I was very happy and very fulfilled that finally, after many attempts, I was able to hit it. Yeah, it took me, I guess, a day, I guess. And yeah, I was happy and I was more determined because if I can conquer the silver challenge, I'm pretty sure I can also uh, conquer the gold challenge. So yeah,
Wow, thank you, Stephen, for sharing your experience and your feeling after the fulfillment. So, indeed, like what he said, it's really a fulfilling feeling when you conquered your first silver challenge. And now, guys, to our viewers now, for this session, um, I want you to learn and take notes of the experiences that us, your mentors, had, and you might use this in your future endeavors and future problems that you are going to solve. But for now, before I proceed to reading the next set of questions, um, let me greet our mentees, which are currently watching in our YouTube platform. So we have Shaira May Palconit uh, from Biliran. Hello, Shaira. And so far, she's. Oh, we also have Megan Cora Covarrubias from Batangas as well. And we also have Miss Haifa. Hello, Puma. And so uh, that's all yet. So we still can wait for the other four participants since we are expecting six. So now let me read the next question. How different are the challenges in bronze and in silver? So we know that you guys also know that since you already encountered the bronze type of challenges. So let us ask our mentors first. Um, how was the difference in experience, difference in difficulties, and difference in the techniques that were used for bronze and silver challenges. So let me ask, um, let's start with uh, Stephen this time. um, what is the difference for your part?
for me, and the difference when it comes to bronze and silver challenge, I guess when I've reached the silver challenge, I guess it needs more advanced knowledge, uh, like say for example algorithms, data structures. You need to know how to write code that will run as fast as it should be, despite the amount of input, no? Kasi there are algorithms that would take longer, no? Habang palaki yung size ng inputs mo. And yan, I guess that's the main difference between the bronze and silver. Well, for, and as for the bronze, I guess it was more of basic knowledge in like loops, like conditional statements, and some standard libraries. And yeah, but yeah, I guess that the main difference is it has more. It needs you to have a knowledge in those advanced topics, data structures and algorithms. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that, Stephen. So, despite the fact that I said earlier that I was able to find the silver challenge easier compared to my bronze challenge, I can't also deny the fact that my silver challenge that time is way easier, way harder compared to my bronze challenge during the first try. It's just that I was able to really have a I was really lucky that time to that the silver challenges that I have encountered were really favorable to mine since those are math subjects, and I really enjoy math problems in my part. So that's really one of the factors too. But as what as Mr. Stephen said, it's really uh, significantly difficult compared to bronze challenge. How about um, How about you, Daniel? How did you find? How do you assess the difference between bronze and silver challenge as one of the as a top programmer of the league? Actually,
First of all, I agree with your statement that I also find right now at this moment, I also find silver challenges to be easier. And maybe later, gold challenges to be easier then. Why is this? Because for silver, we only need 70% to 100 to be able to garner points from it. Unlike sa bronze, we need to have kailangan natin i-perfect yung mga ano, 'di ba? Problems. So, yeah, you need to have you have to be really efficient. You have to really understand the problem statements and the cues ng problem statements. There may be some hidden meanings, ganon. Some challengers really like to do that. So it's kind of harder for new beginners, no, to find those signals. So yeah, the difference is that parang for bronze, you need to have a perfect score. Unlike sa silver, you can have a few mistakes and still pass it. So yeah, for me, silver then is easier than bronze.
thank you, Daniel. So, guys, if you're not familiar, even though your mentors are already in gold level challengers, we're still capable of accessing lower uh, lower type of challenges such as bronze level challenges and silver level challenges because that's how the platform works. So even us, we're still trying to solve those levels, and as what Daniel said, silver challenges really not required to hit all the 100%, but now for us we really have to uh, get all the check marks for the bronze challenges if we want to get that 10 points. And yeah, it's just 10 points. And for the silver challenge, I think it would be um, 300 or 200 points. And for the gold, I think it will be 1,000 depending on the number of check marks that you got. So now let's proceed to Jerome. Um, on your part, what do you think is the difference between the bronze level challenges and the silver level challenges?
Um, in my part, uh, on sa bronze and silver, pareho silang 5 hours na si-solve mo. And also sa golden, 5 hours din sila. But yung difference nila ay at yung pinaka-notable na sinasabi ng fellow mentors ko is that in bronze you need to hit 100%, and though you need to um, hit that 100%, your points will only be 10 points. That's why it is motivation for everybody here in the platform na kapag na hit mo yung 10 points or 100% sa bronze, you will uh, you will be getting a higher points on the next level or challenge. And yun yung pinaka-difference ng gold, I mean bronze and silver challenge. And also, maybe they yung difficulty is uh, mas mahirap konti yung sa silver because it includes some OOPs, um, mga standard library usage, and DSA or data structures and algorithms. While sa bronze, may mga simple expressions, control structures, and some error handling lang yung mga nandun. So, may variation, may notable variation sa kanilang differences po.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Jerome, for sharing your thoughts about the difference between bronze and silver challenge. And yes, guys, I think you're already familiar with the platform. So, bronze level, silver level challenges, and gold level challenges all have 5 hour time limit, uh, a time allotted for you to solve the challenges. So, that's really actually a challenge, no? Because although the challenges are getting harder, the time limit is constant. So it means that you really have to improve yourself to solve more problems in a small number of time, and also harder compared to the other previous types of challenges. So now let us proceed to the third question. But before that, let me check if there are newcomers. So there's no new commenters for now. Let's proceed to the next question. What kind of challenges do you find easier to conquer? I think this pertains to the specialty of each mentor. So let's ask each mentor. So I've said earlier that I'm really good at math type of problems like that, where you really use formulas. Like I remember my uh, first challenges, silver challenges that I really enjoyed were it's about computing distances using rate and time. There's stuff like that, and I also remember calculating areas like that. So I really find it enjoyable on my part. So I was able to pass. So what about our fellow mentors? Let's ask them. So let's start this time with um, Daniel. What is your specialty in terms of programming, or instead, what kind of challenges do you find easier to conquer?
Hmm. For what kind of challenges in Stack League I like to conquer? I'll go with algorithms because yeah, same with you. I also like formulas and yeah, algorithms. I like to search for algorithms online that I can easily implement in order to make efficient ano, efficient solutions for the problems at Stack League. I also want I'm also good at yeah, algorithms is also my specialty because it's the number one it's the number one type of problem that I contribute in the league. I have around 150 problem sets na that I contributed. A tag all of them are tagged as algorithmic questions. So yeah, I think it's easy to say na that's my specialty. Yeah, that's it.
Wow, that's amazing. So our top programmer Daniel has already contributed 150 uh, problems about algorithms. So if you guys are not familiar, we gold level challengers are capable of accessing the contribution section of the platform. So there we contribute problems for um, which the newcomers will be able to solve. So that's what I also love about Stack League, that we are able to contribute problems that we have in mind, and it also exercises our skills in making our problems and also finding the solution for those problems, since we have to also add the solutions for that. Um, so for Daniel, it's algorithms. So algorithms is really general, and if you're good at it, then I think you'd be able to really solve most of Stack League challenges, since, like Daniel said, it's really most of the time algorithms. So now let's ask Stephen, um, what type of challenges are you good at? Do you find it easier to conquer, rather?
Well, actually almost all around with any challenges, as long as first of all that challenge should is comprehensible, meaning uh, I could understand what the problem is asking, or and how a certain input is transformed into certain output, and also those challenge that as long as it isn't math and it doesn't involve math much. Although I have a at least a moderate knowledge in mathematics, but I'm not really total expert everything. So yeah, I could struggle in that area, and also there's some challenges that may not obviously mention because but there are as from an analysis it there are challenges that would require recursion, and which basically it means that you call a function by itself, and then it's like an alternative way of looping, iteration. But yeah, no, it's a bit more complicated for me how to implement recursive functions. So anything that doesn't involve math and recursion, those are for me, that's the easy challenges. Yun.
See, guys, each of us really have our own specialization when it comes to programming. We tend to have our own ideal type of problems to solve. So for Stephen, he mentioned rather that uh, he's an all-rounder, generalist, uh, to be specific, but he specifically is a little bit. Uh, uh, Not that good in math, but in general, he really does well. So he also mentioned a lot of technicalities in terms of programming, like recursion and iteration. So I hope that one day you will also be able to implement those types of techniques in your program. So later, we'll ask Stephen about that and how he implements it, and maybe you can guys learn about it. So, but for now, let us ask our last mentor for this question, Mr. Jerome. What kind of challenges do you find easier to conquer?
For me, the easiest challenges that uh, I can conquer easily is um, that the challenges that includes simple expressions like all of you guys uh, that needs formulas, and my favorite ones are uh, the challenges that includes OOP or object-oriented programming, since it is very crucial for programmer to know this paradigm na because in OOP um, you can chunk your code or your functions into a single object. I hope everyone will uh, um, learn this paradigm or technique in or OOP. And one also the easiest one for me is challenges includes strings or also error handling and regular expressions, since we I personally um, learning regular expressions, and we are tackling that in our course. That's why I can say that I may be good at solving those challenges.
Oh, thank you, Jerome, for sharing that. As you've heard, Jerome is really good in different types of problems, which are available in the current platform. So Jerome is good at object-oriented programming, is also good at regular expressions, as what he said earlier, and also strings, error handling. So those are important skills actually, handling errors and regular expressions, which is used in the modern field of programming as well. So thank you for that, Jerome. So I hope you guys, which are watching us live, have learned a lot on what skills are your mentors good at right now. So follow up question for that. We now ask everyone, what kind of questions do you think are difficult for you, difficult to conquer? So I think I'll go first. No? So unlike Jerome, I used to really hate object-oriented programming. So if you guys are not familiar with object-oriented programming, it is a type of paradigm in programming that uses objects. Like in my language, Python, we use class as the indicator for such objects, and it has different methods and also instances within here. So it will be used for really solving the problems. So um, if you have noticed, guys, most of the problems in StackLeague is in the form of a function, and I'm really used to it, making functions. But once I have encountered object-oriented type of challenges for the first time, I really didn't know what to do on those type of processes. Although I already encountered them before by brief introduction, but I really am not good at it. So what I did is I really searched online. I find resources which are going to help me in understanding such problems. And now I can say that I'm capable of solving those problems by myself. And I'm also glad that when am trying to solve challenges now, right now, that being a gold level challenger, I am already able to solve those object oriented program. So let's ask now our uh, mentors on which skill or type of challenges do they find difficult? This time, let's start with Jerome. So, we've heard that you're good at a lot of skills. So, this time, what type of challenges are difficult for you?
For me naman, since I cited some of my um, good part of my programming skills, meron naman akong weakness. That is some math problems, especially sa geometry. And yun yung pinaka-ayaw ko sa mga challenges. Since mahirap, for me, mahirap siyang intindihin. And at some point, uh, I need to revisit my geometry class before uh, I entered college. Um, and also, I have also a weakness sa algorithms. That's why yung mga algorithms is pwede natin siyang i-search sa Google. We have a lot of resources out there sa internet. One of that is um, Geeks for Geeks. The other one that I visit recently is yung sa mga YouTube channels, programming or coding problems or coding um, interviews. And I also uh, consult yung Stack Overflow for algorithms like that. Since it is very accessible naman na siya, pwede nating i-consult yung internet for that.
So, you've heard Jerome, his the type of challenges which he find difficult are algorithms and those with and also those with geometry type of problems. So I don't know if you guys have encountered that, but there are geometry type of challenges in the platform right now. So um, if you encountered them, so you may refer as what Jerome suggested on platforms or websites such as Geeks for Geeks. And also you may search it on YouTube, which have coding problems, which you also may refer to. And also the most popular Stack Overflow, um, there are a lot of similar questions there that if you might find it difficult, there must be someone who already asked that question for you in Stack Overflow and will definitely help you in your algorithms. So for now, let's move on. Stephen, what type of challenges do you find difficult for you?
Okay. As I already mentioned a while ago, uh, anything that as long as it doesn't involve math much,
Hello,
and the
Stephen.
coach. Hello, can you hear me? Oh, hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, okay, okay. So again, going back to what I've said in the previous question. Uh, Usually, challenges that are difficult for me are those that requires math, and those challenges that requires you to may or may require it depends on how, but there are instances that for me it requires you need to implement you need to solve the problem using recursion. And going back to my about math nodes, if an example of that is, for example, there's a challenge that I encountered recently, and that uh, challenge was requires you to find the nth term that in a certain sequence, tapos yung sequence na yun, it kailangan it excludes those numbers na divisible by that certain number. Let's say for example, divisible by 3 and numbers that ends with 3. So yun. Although I did manage to solve it on my end using my own IDE, but upon running on the Stack League, I just copy paste naman yung codes ko from my IDE to my testing environment, no? To my own testing environment, and then I just copy paste it into the Stack League's own IDE. Upon submitting, it it seems that it was loading, no? Took a long couple of seconds, and then all of a sudden it's just time out. So meaning it requires you to it requires a solution that an efficient solution. So I think my solution didn't. It was the solution that I gave was it involves iteration. So perhaps there could be some test cases, hidden test cases, not obvious, that have a large number, large input. So again, there are some solutions that as the input becomes larger, the code becomes also takes longer also to run, and perhaps that's what happened to my solution. And for me, I think should require a couple of math formulas in order for that to solve. So yeah, I guess those challenges are the toughest one for me.
Yes, thank you for that, Stephen. So I find myself really relatable with what Stephen has mentioned. There are certain problems where you're required to um, take very large number of inputs, and algorithm, if the algorithm that you have implemented is inefficient, it will tend to display a test timeout. So it's really efficiency is really important in implementing your uh, algorithms. You need to consider the complexity or the time that it will take for your code uh, to run, especially if the inputs are very large. So this is usually the fault of recursive type of problems if you're not good at implementing it with large numbers, and this can also be a problem for loopings if your implementation is also not efficient. So um, solving this type of challenges is really very challenging in our part also as mentors. So now let's move to uh, Daniel. So this time, what type of challenges do you feel difficult to conquer?
Mm-hmm. So I believe I'm Jerome's opposite. I have a hard time in OOP and regular expressions. Nako, regular expressions gives me nightmares. If you look at regular expressions, it's like gibberish. So yeah, it's really hard to understand. You really have to study it. You have to study the pattern how to make how to customize those expressions to your biddings. So it's really hard. And I believe I was not taught it. I was not it was not taught at my school pa, so it's a reason na maybe I was still not properly introduced to it. That's why I'm having problems. For OOP, the problem with OOP is that I believe there's not much practice I can give into it. There's not much websites out there that teach proper OOP kaysa sa school namin. So I need more experiences at school, and professional work experience to get better at that. So yeah, what I'll do right now is just what I'm doing, which is focusing on algorithms, since that it's very easy for in life.
Uh, you guys heard that? Daniel, our top programmer, is not that good with regular expressions, and thankfully there are not a lot of those types of problems in the league. I think as of now, I'm not really sure if there are for the others. But yeah, it's actually really hard. It's actually really difficult. Regular expression. I think my first hand encounter with those are uh, when I tried to restrict inputs in Google Forms. Yeah, it's really helpful to learn the regular expressions syntaxes. So now, since we have only limited time for our session and our time is about to end, mentors, I want to ask you if you have any tips for our uh, bronze challengers who want to level up to silver challengers this week, and what are your advices to them, and what do you think should be their next move if ever they will be able to pass the silver challenges? This time, let's start with Daniel.
Okay, so my tip for everyone who is currently doing the silver challenges right now is just yeah, just keep on trying and from time to time try to do something different and research online. Hopefully you will get results, you'll get progress, and one day you will solve it properly. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for your advice, Daniel. Now let's move on to Stephen. What can you advise to our mentees that which are watching now?
Siguro ano na lang po, just ano lang yung answer ko previously. I'll just iterate na lang yung kahapon. Anyway, what I advised was first you just learn the fundamentals and the syntax of the language that you selected, and as well as the standard libraries. You don't have to like completely master the whole like standard libraries. The important ones are those from the string manipulations, um, the sorting function, okay, and get familiarized with various data structures. For me, the ones that are convenient for me are arrays, the even two-dimensional arrays. And if you want a dynamic sort of an array, you could perhaps use list or hash set, uh, map dictionary, which is implemented in using hash table, and sets also data structure. And you study how each data structure works. Then perhaps you have if you have ideas that you don't know how to implement it into code, you could just Google that or search it on Stack Overflow and look for suggestions from various programmers. And what else? And of course, since this is a silver challenge, I guess as I mentioned, there are some advanced stuff that you need to know as well, like uh, how to design algorithms, like say for example, the greedy algorithm, the dynamic programming, what divide and conquer, those kind of strategies, and algorithms, and as well as time complexities like constant time, linear time, exponential time, those stuff. And you need to know what and how do you create those time complexities, because let's say for example, if your code has a nested loop, then most likely it would probably be would end up in n to the power of 2, or n na ano running time, no? You check big O notation po. You You could try to search that on Geeks for Geeks or perhaps on YouTube. No? It's important to learn. YouTube is very helpful, no, in learning stuff visually. And also I mentioned in yung regular expression, I've encountered this a couple of times, no? Especially in error handling, no? Like you need to check certain input if it's not empty, if your string is uh, should contain only capital letters, no? So it's very important that you learn how about regular expressions because it's usually used for string pattern matching. Like and a good application for that is yung nagva-validate ka ng ano, the syntax of whether a certain input is ano ba siya, yung format ba niya is email ba siya, no? If so, you could use regular expressions for that, no? And then I guess this is just an advanced ano na lang, if ever you will be able to pass the silver challenge, you learn from coding websites that has coding challenges like Code Chef, Exorcism, Neat Code, Geeks for Geeks. No? What I like about these websites is they also discuss the solution. How was the solution? Uh, how did for a certain problem? How did they what? How did they solve it? You know, there are videos and even discussion forums. Yeah, and I guess that's all. Thank you. Thank you.
Stephen has said a lot, so I hope you guys took notes. Those are really important tips and advices from our fellow mentor, Stephen. But this time, let's give the last tip and advice to Jerome. What are your advices to our mentees?
Yes, to our mentees, this has been my constant advice to everyone who are starting uh, to or beginner in programming. First is you need to have an ID and then a personal repository for your codes because sometimes or in these platforms sa StackLeague, hindi siya nasi-save. So you need to have your personal repository on your local computer. So in case na may ma-encounter kayo ulit na same problem, you can enhance it or you can uh, pass again yung challenge through your saved code. And also, yung next na advice ko is you need to have, since this is a silver challenge, so may challenges na siya na may uh, or that includes time complexity that Stephen is mentioning a while ago. No, kailangan yun na sa alang-alang yung efficiency ng coding nyo. So, it is not just yung code ninyo is effective siya. So, you need to check also if your code is efficient so that hindi siya nagkakaroon ng um, error na test time out sa platform. And last thing that I want to remind everyone that in our industry in programming, uh, it is very dynamic. So we need to learn constantly. So every day or every problem, we need to um, learn something and yung nale-learn natin ay ma-apply natin sa real world challenges and also programming challenges. Thank you and good luck po sa mga mentees natin.
Okay, thank you, Jerome. And thank you also to our fellow mentors for your advices to our mentees. And to our mentees, I hope that you learned a lot during this session. But now I have to give the platform back to Miss Chloe, and she'll do the rest of this session. Miss Chloe.
All right, thank you, Jeremiah. And that's all for our mentorship session this evening. Congratulations to those who unlocked the silver level. You'll be receiving the 100 peso cash prize. Thank you very much to all our featured mentors, Jeremiah, Jerome, Stephen, and Daniel, for taking this time to help and inspire your fellow programmers. On behalf of the StackLeague team, I would like to say thank you to everybody for joining the StackLeague Mentorship Tuesdays, and congratulations to the challengers again. And thank you to our featured mentors. We look forward to seeing you next week at the StackLeague Mentorship Mondays. This has been your host, Flo, and good night, everyone.